When winter has taken spring's final flower, when its life becomes ugly and cold, when death comes upon me like an eviction notice, leaving my soul without a home, I'll be sure to haunt your kitchen cabinets with a touch of that graveyard magic. When the crickets and cicada both sing just for me, and the owls all bow with respect, when death goes a-prowling like a wolf through the forest and finds his way to the front steps, I will be knocking around in your attic. Death can't conquer this graveyard magic. Oh, 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 oh. Crows have lined up across the fence in the yard, and the bones of winter's trees all shake with fear. As death goes a-howling like an all-coming train, headed west to that final frontier. Our love girl is strange and automatic, chock full of that chalky graveyard magic. My body gets as light as air, blood trails from the yard up the stairs, and I close my eyes to see you there. I miss you all the best that I can. The spirit pours for rum of the land.
Article that was posted, you know.
Hey, all right.
Hey.
I almost didn't stop the music. I just was grooving to that. So
It's like when you
get lost in the sauce.
Yeah, it's like when you just come back from a drive or whatever.
I try to mix it up every time so we get some good stuff going on. I think we're talking about two different things. So
we are. Give me 1 second.
That's okay. We have a lot on the agenda for tonight.
Some spicy topics. I think this will be a fun one.
Hey, a little spice for the end of year. I like it. I like it. And, you know, it's amazing how different media platforms it's like the universe will provide, you know, all these great things coming at you all at once. It's like, wow.
I thought they shut down the Spice channel. The Spice will live on no matter who tries to shut it down.
The spice must flow.
The spice must flow.
Hold on.
But I hope everyone had
our
happy
host
holidays.
Go ahead. Happy holidays.
Yeah, hope that went all for everyone. Got to spend some time with family. Stuff your face with a bunch of good food.
Humbug.
I know I ate a bit too much. Probably put on a few pounds, but it is not really what Christmas is about. Getting as fat as Santa.
I swear to you, people who are supposed to like me are like, I'm pretty sure they're trying to kill me. I probably got like 15 pounds worth of chocolate this year from different folks. Yeah.
Oh, that's so much chocolate.
It is. It's horrible. Horrible. And I can't help myself but eat it, so it's, you know.
I feel like I'm getting old when I say I can't handle sweets like I used to.
You are, you old man.
You. Apologies. But anyway, yeah. So
you should apologize. What was the deal with that? Like start the stream and you go running away. I don't know what the deal is.
One of the dogs was sick, and we were trying to figure out if it was Winnie or Chance, but it wasn't my dog. She's fine. Anyways, so yeah, guys, sorry about the kind of impromptu step away. Welcome to episode 33 of the update log. The last
probably was Insomnia.
According to the Spice Channel. Last stream of 2023. Wow, 33 streams, not counting the special episodes either. And then the RPG stream. Now we've been doing this quite a bit. Anyway, thank you guys for coming in. Hopefully, for those of you who celebrate Christmas, Merry Christmas or Merry belated Christmas to y'all. Hopefully, you guys had a good time with your family and friends, and Santa was nice to y'all. For those who don't celebrate, hopefully, if there's some kind of holiday that happens in y'all neck of the woods, hopefully you guys had a good time.
Merry Chrysler. There you go.
So, we're getting into episode 33. We're talking about a couple of things tonight. First off, we're going to kind of kick things off with China, and it's in the propositional stage. right now. Basically, to give you guys the kind of the TLDR, they have put together a proposal for a law to get rid of and make it illegal for gotcha game mechanics like login bonuses, like daily login bonuses,
Forced PvP.
yeah, forced PvP is one of them.
That's a bit that's like vague to me. I guess when we really get into talking about this, we like talk about like what exactly that is supposed to mean.
Yeah,
Again, these things haven't been passed yet, but they're like
they're in the conversational stage, I guess, the drafting of the bill. So yeah, daily login bonuses, forced PvP in games, in online games. So this is primarily targeted towards online games and mobile games, which are online. First purchase bonuses, which it kind of makes me think of pre-orders. I'm not entirely sure if that's what they meant. But we'll get more into that. And then a cumulative purchase bonus, which I think those are that part is more or less the more you buy of a currency, the more you get, kind of deal.
Yeah, I think
that's kind of what I'm thinking.
Pay to win.
So.
Pay to win, baby.
It's kind of like in a lot of games where you see those secondary occurrences. Like I'll bring up Elder Scrolls Online for reference, where they have their in-game store currency called crowns, and you can buy the crowns for real money, and when you bulk buy, you get like more crowns.
Yeah, like $100 more or something.
Yeah, something like that. Maybe that's what they're talking about. I think
possibly. So here's the thing, guys. Gotcha game mechanics have been around for a lot longer than I think people realize, and what I mean by that.
Let's define gotcha first, actually.
Okay, go ahead, Matt.
What is a gotcha? So the gotcha mechanics they're very similar to loot boxes. I believe the term kind of originates from I think Japan.
I think so. Yeah,
these kind of machines called gachapon.
Yeah, where pretty much typically in like pachinko parlors and stuff like that. I'm pretty sure. Or similar gambling parlors.
Like all some like toy stores, because like one of the ways that they can appear that you'd have like a machine that was full of them, kind of like like a gumball dispenser that you used to see in like Blockbusters or stuff back in the old days.
Wow, Blockbuster! My man pulled out a relic.
There's still one that exists. I forget what state it in.
Don't even know what a Blockbuster is.
But yeah. So you put in your money, you twist the handle, and a little capsule comes out, and they'll have a toy in it, and it's like a random collector's toy. And that's essentially what the gacha is in video game form, where you pretty much you get the thing, whether it's paying the money or using your in-game rewards, and you get a random result out of it. It's just, think of it like a loot box is kind of like a gathering where in a single thing you get multiple items from it, multiple random items. That's the way the loot box is. The gacha is like one thing instead of a group of things. Last Blockbuster is in Bend, Oregon. Yeah, it is in Oregon.
Robert is a loot box.
Well, Robert
is a loot box.
Do you have something to confess to us? Like,
hey, he was. I brought up Pornhub earlier, and I don't know.
Look, I am a artifact level piece of content. Okay, top tier, baby, top tier.
But yeah, so the gacha overall, it's a mechanic very similar to a loot box where you're rolling the dice for a random item, be it like a weapon skin, in-game rewards, or in the case of like the very popular like Genshin Impact or Honkai Star Rail, your favorite waifu, And so that's more or less what gacha is.
Gotcha.
And so yeah, so that's kind of the definition of gotcha. And basically, this proposed law, again, it's still in development. Um, it's basically being developed to do away with that kind of thing. Now we've seen a lot of like pushback and kind of how do I put it? Getting
Point
rid
is,
of
ladies
the
and
whole loot
gentlemen,
box
that
situation
greed,
here in the
for lack
States.
of a better word,
That's kind of been done away
is
with.
good.
Although we still see them.
Greed is right.
There's been pushback for
Greed
them. Over there in
works.
China, from my understanding and research, that is like completely gone.
A couple of countries in Europe also pushed back against it. Like,
Yeah.
I know here in the States it got the attention of like legislators, but I don't think any straight up laws regarding loot boxes got passed, at least not to my knowledge. But I know in Europe some laws did get passed regarding loot boxes.
Frankly, I'm glad. I am
Oh,
very glad that this is happening, and I seriously hope that more regulatory whatever. I'm a little government guy, but I mean, go get them, because in my personal personally, I think that mentality has done nothing but bad things for the industry.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
look,
Oh, yeah.
there's a reason why
Absolutely.
casinos are heavily regulated, and they
Yeah.
don't let children in.
Uh-huh.
And so, video games using very similar,
Yeah, they're using
we'll say
gambling
mechanics,
tactics.
gambling. Yeah, like
Gambling
they
tactics.
say loot boxes, they say gotcha, but it's in
It's
the
not the
very
gambling.
same vein of you're spending money for a non-guaranteed,
Uh,
we'll say reward, I guess. And yeah, it's you don't know what you're getting. It could be something. I think the biggest defense that these loot boxes and gotcha, the video game gambling has is that you do always get something in return. But to me, that's not enough.
No, I completely agree with you. And here's the thing. And first of all, I want the audience to weigh in on this as well, because, and the reason why we're bringing it up, number one, it's an interesting topic, but number two, this direction that the gaming industry has gone and continues to go of login bonuses, pre-order bonuses. We're gonna get to that real big with fucking Diablo 4 and just Blizzard in general. But pre-order bonuses, multiple different editions of a game, which if they have things like microtransactions or like a shop, which most games these days do, gets you that premium currency if you buy the higher tier stuff, which kind of all loops around into the pay to win and
I think
loot box situation.
I think Shadow Riddlebox already weighed in on this. She says she wants a Rob loot box, and
You gotta play the game.
Well, I was just trying to. I was just trying to figure out the price. I mean,
And by the way, you all just lost the game. You're welcome.
Okay, Rob. What year is it? What year is it?
Look,
Bro.
that shit'll never go out of style. Okay, y'all lost the fucking game.
Okay, instance number 2 already, where we've dug up ancient fucking history. Oh my god.
One job.
Yeah, you're
but
welcome.
to get back to this law.
But yeah, so basically, China's push is to get rid of all of the things that we just talked about in online gaming, both for mobile and for I guess what we would consider traditional online gaming. Primarily for that reason, because while children are not, if you're under 18, or rather here in the States, if you're under 21, you're not allowed to gamble. However, games are using the gambling mechanics and the gambling psychology of kind of sucking you in by letting you win a little, and then you lose it all. Letting you win a little bit more. They're circumventing that by having it appear in video games. primarily with the introduction of a premium currency. That's pretty much how they're getting around that aspect, and how they can kind of fudge that line of gambling when it's fucking gamble. Let's call it what it is.
Yeah. I mean, one of the defenses is that even though you're spending real money, you're not getting anything worth monetary value in return. So it's like one of the defenses that I've heard regarding, loot. Like it's one of the defenses I heard back in the loot box debacle when that was going down, and that's one of the reasons that they used to say like, "Oh no, it's not gambling," because like gambling, you're trying to get real money out of it.
But here's the thing. Here, from my personal opinion, it's as bad as gambling, and it's kind of simultaneously as bad and a little worse and a little better. A little worse because at least in a casino, when you're gambling, you have a chance to recoup your costs. Here, you don't. You don't recoup your costs.
That's what every person who has a gambling problem has said.
Well, yes, I don't have a gambling problem, thank God. But I see where you're coming from, Greg. But realistically, you do have like you have the chance to get back your money. It's a low chance, but basically you have a chance to get back what you spent. The reason why I believe, personal opinion, the whole loot box and gacha mechanics in video games is worse in that regard is that you don't get anything back for your money, and by that I mean you don't get anything back tangibly. Yes, you get back stuff in the video game. You get whatever currency, whatever exclusive thing. And it's a kind of it's a bit of a treadmill here, but you don't get anything worth a damn.
Yeah, I mean,
for spending your money. The company, the house, i.e., the company, just takes your shit and that's now theirs. And whenever that game goes under, guess what? That thing you bought and paid for, gone.
Yeah, well, I see what you're saying, but I think the major issue is the fact that people are spending money for a non-guaranteed reward because
that's another thing.
Yeah. I'd say that's the bigger thing because if there was real like tangible or monetary value to these loot boxes or gacha mechanics, then that makes it even more gambling because then you are doing just like as you do at the casino, hitting the slots, spending some money, and hoping to get some money in return. That makes it even more of gambling than it would be before. So that's why I think the major issue is just you're spending money for a non-guaranteed reward. You don't know what you're getting when you hit the lever on that slot machine. Is it going to be a common item that's worth jack shit, or you're going to get the legendary that's very rare? I think that's like the real thing, and one of the reasons why I say like Blizzard in a lot of their games, like we'll take Overwatch for example. Overwatch 1 was loot box based, but in the time that the loot box was getting the attention of lawmakers around the world, they pivoted to the battle pass system, which that has that system, the way it's implemented over there, is its own can of worms. But at least it's not like straight up fucking gambling anymore.
Absolutely. And I don't know. So guys, what's y'all's opinion on that whole situation? Where, I mean, how do you guys feel about games and kind of the premium currencies and the daily login bonuses and yeah, that gacha mechanic situation? Insomnia Knight says he hates gacha games. I agree, I do too. Even though, so I play one gacha mechanic game, and it's called Lost Ark. It's an ARPG, one of the best combat systems ever. It's a South Korean MMO. Definitely gacha mechanics, and again, agreed. That's my thing with kind of the login bonuses or kind of stuff like that, or microtransactions. I'm okay with microtransactions and I guess, premium stores and stuff in games, as long as it's not. First of all, it's not like you were saying earlier, Matt, where you're hedging a bet on potentially getting something that's worth the fuck or trash. And
Yeah.
and here's the thing: more often than not, you're gonna get crap.
Mhm.
You're
Yeah.
just gonna get crap that you don't fucking need. I mean, honestly, in my opinion, one of the worst offenders of this is fucking Bethesda and Elder Scrolls Online, where
Oh, yeah.
they literally
Oh.
trying. Here's the thing: they've literally sold you premium currency, or to try to sell you on premium currency to buy a thing in the game that you can get for free. And then, but here's the thing: I mean, there was a whole situation about this. I think earlier this year or last year or something. It was a bit ago. There was a whole situation where what I just said was posted on Twitter, and people were like okay with it. And when they got called out, some individuals at ZeniMax who were doing a live stream at that time
The loot
got a little
boxes,
upset.
the loot boxes on ESO are gambling. You
Yeah.
can't convince me otherwise. That's exactly what they are.
Yeah, no, it's gambling. It's the same as just pulling the lever on a slot machine and
Mhm.
seeing what each slot comes out to be.
The,
But
the loophole is that you're not directly spending money on it. That's
And
the
you know how
loophole.
you
You
that's
have to buy the
loophole, yes.
crowns, and then
Yep.
you use the crowns to buy the spin of the wheel, basically, because that's the way it works.
exactly.
yeah, and honestly, that's the stuff that really bugs me because the whole in-game premium currency, it hides. It's like
They did.
it's an extra layer between your real money and the thing you're actually trying to buy that almost hides how much you're actually spending
Mhm.
on this
Yeah.
item or whatever.
It's a psychological thing.
Yeah,
and-
it is literally just like playing a slot machine, because that's
Yeah.
exactly what happens to all the bells and whistles and the shiny things, and you get your shot
and
of
you get your
dopamine,
you get your
and
quarters.
you
Yeah,
just
you
want
get your
more.
quarters. Yep. Yeah,
And
100%.
well, and at a certain point, then the other mechanic pulls in there, because once you get to it's all fun and games in the beginning, but once you've got so much invested in it, just like playing a slot machine, once you have so much invested in it, then the other side of that mechanic starts to play on you, where you're like, well, I gotta get some value out of this, or in the case of an actual slot machine, I gotta try and win my money back.
Exactly.
And
Sunk cost fallacy.
that game is
Yep.
rigged, buddy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and again, like, casinos are heavily regulated and they have to roll by certain rules.
Mm.
Like,
Games
even
are
if
not.
even if the odds are against you when you go into a casino, there
Still
are
a chance.
limits to how much they can tip those odds in a house's favor.
Yeah.
In video
And-
games, they with their loot boxes, they
It's
don't
all in the
have those
house's favor.
same they don't have those same regulations. Like, okay, let's take an instance. I remember this being talked about in I think it may have been Overwatch's loot boxes back when they did loot boxes. Like, the legendary, they when they posted their odds of winning, certain rarity of items.
Mhm.
The odds of getting a say legendary was less than 1%. But okay,
Yeah, it's regionally
but here's the
regulated.
thing. That's incredibly vague because because less than 1%. All right, so you have 0.9%. It's okay, but that could also go to 0.000000001%, and those are completely astronomically different odds from each other, even though they're both less than 1%. So telling me that this thing has a less than 1% chance to happen is that's not telling me the chance at all, because that's incredibly big.
And here's the thing, though, with regards to kind of this law, this push for this law to be passed. It's ironic coming out of China in that two of their largest corporations, Tencent and NetEase, make their money primarily off of the loot
No,
boxes and the gamble and
no,
like the
say it's
gacha
not so.
games.
Yeah, okay. So this is the very interesting part because Tencent, NetEase, for those who don't know, those are very major corporations in the gaming
large.
world.
Yes.
They own a very large portion of the gaming world, like
Yeah.
at the very top level, above a lot of like the major publishers and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like they
So,
own a lot. And
to
with,
give you guys some basically some context, I just pulled up some statistics on NetEase. So NetEase is headquarters in Hangzhou, China, and they make up about $68.82 billion of kind of the global
That's
revenue
it?
in terms of the gaming industry. Oh, well, that's in oh, actually no, that's in USD. With Tencent, it's 482.1 billion, but that's in like Chinese money, whatever it is. I think it's the yen. No, I don't know if that might be the yen. I don't fucking know. Anyway, so those are the two of the largest gaming companies in China. I would say in the world, but
yeah,
definitely in China. Those are two big names, and they've got games like let's see, Eve Echoes, right? I should say. Let's see. Most of these are either. Wow, yeah, these are definitely kind of on mobile games, stuff like that.
yeah. I mean, the mobile market is huge, but I mean, they own a lot in the world. And this law, since it hasn't even been passed yet, but it's caused the stock of these two corporations to fall quite a lot.
Yep.
I think for Tencent, it's gone down about 20%, and NetEase about 15%.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Because China, like as an economic power, is huge in the world. Like it's like China is an economic like giant. And so when something happens there, you know that's going to have waves across the world in like an economic sense. And I actually want to dig into this law a bit and the things that they're talking about banning, because some of these are interesting. Because like with the gacha bit, I can agree with that. Because I do consider that like gambling. But some of these other bits they're talking about banning are interesting to me because I don't think I may not be a fan of some of these things, but to ban them outright seems strange for me. Like, let's talk about the daily login bonus. Because I'll say first, I don't like the daily login bonus because I don't like feeling like I'm obligated to log in every day. You know, get that essentially a bit of FOMO. A bit of FOMO.
Well, again, it kind of circles back to
log in.
Yeah, it circles back also to the sunk cost fallacy. You've already logged in, Matt. You're already there. Might as well play for a little bit.
Yeah,
and you're there for 5 minutes.
Here's the thing, though. Like, I'm not a fan of it. I don't think any of us are. But
no,
should we go so far as to say that should be illegal? That's the question for me, because like with gacha,
I think that is a little too much.
Yeah, like gacha and loot boxes, they're gambling. I can definitely see the reason to illegalize those things, especially for.
But I want my daily login bonus.
Under 18, especially for people under 18 or whatever region's legal age for gambling. I believe to specify on this bill, they do specify not allowed to sell gacha service to under 18 people in China. So it wouldn't be that they're full on banning it. Just
listen to this guy going after my daily login bonus. Man,
it makes me feel like they care about me logging in. And like, yeah, see, and if that's your thing, then that's your thing. I don't like. I'm not gonna say
you You needed someone to acknowledge you, Insomnia Knight. Is that what you're trying to tell us?
But yeah, like if that's your thing, then all the power to you. I'm not a fan of it, but if you like it, then good. Because I don't think it's that big of a problem that it should be illegalized.
The daily login bonus?
Yeah. Again, I don't like it, but
should be illegal.
That's a reach.
Right. It's it starts with the idea starts with providing value for the subscription based games. That's basically what it comes down to. And they are you just paying to play the game? And I think a lot of these companies have kind of gotten themselves into this cycle. Kind of like in the retail market, not so much now, but like in the 80s, layaway was a big deal, and it was a marketing ploy to get people to come and spend their money with at your store, because you can come and get it now to make sure that you get yours, because supply thing, there may not be any when you have the money, so you better come get it now, put it on layaway, and then you can just pay for it in installments. As the credit industry has revved up, and a lot of these chain stores have figured out that, hey, you know what? All we really need to do is issue company credit cards, and then they can just buy it on credit, and then we can charge them interest, and it doesn't have to sit in a storeroom for free. But that was the big thing right there when it came to layaway. Is it was purely created to pull business, to pull market share. And a lot of these MMOs, that's exactly why they do these things. Is they have to provide. You could say that their game isn't better than the other people's game, so they have to give you something more, so there's some value there for the money they're charging you. You could say that.
In some cases, I would say that, and I'd be right.
Yep.
Yeah,
because you got some games out there that are fucking hot garbage.
Yeah, again,
Welcome in Infinity Core.
I'm not a fan of it either, but do you think that it's that much of an issue to where we should be banning daily login bonuses?
Your question? No, Matt. I agree with you. I think that's a reach for this law, and any law passed like it, it's a reach. Now you're doing a little too much.
Yeah. Oh,
but Insomnia Knight, MMO that uses layaway. Wow.
Yeah, and Infinity Core,
I don't know how you heard that, man.
This is about a proposed law in China. This isn't happening in the States. This is over in China. The main target is gacha games, which I'm fine with. Putting some regulations on gacha games, because that's essentially gambling. But they're also targeting some other things in this bill that is a little strange to me. Another one of these things is forbids forced PvP in online games.
Mhm.
And
which is odd, because a lot of these games, we'll take Fortnite, we'll take League of Legends, which are played heavily in China, and hell, China has I'm pretty sure they do anyway. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure they have a League of Legends professional teams in China.
Yeah.
So League of Legends, to name a few, again, PUBG, there are a number of them, are built off of player versus player interactions. So what do you do with that?
Yeah, that's the part that's really making me kind of scratch my head about this, because is this like a mistranslation that we lose some context on for this bit? Because there are many games out there that are solely PvP. A lot of games out there that are like that. So are they banning all games that don't offer some sort of PvE mode? Is there something? Yeah, esports. Yeah, esports. Those are all PvP games. So I'm wondering, is there some context that we're missing with this? Is this some sort of bad translation?
I think the push on that piece of legislation is really just to make sure that the games are that there's an option there, kind of like having a toggle switch. I mean, you can play the
I
game
can actually kind of see that.
without
Yeah.
having to do the PvP piece, because there are people that thrive on the PvP piece. And Insomnia is he's a PvP guy. Me personally, I'm not. I could care less for the PvP. Most of the time, I don't really want to do the PvP. And if I do, I do sometimes. But if I do PvP, it's usually in a support role. So, but I would rather not. I'd rather just play the game.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people out there that's what they thrive on. They want to go in and they want to dominate people. And I'm not saying that's good or bad.
They want to embrace the gamer rage that comes
Yep.
with PvP games. I've been there. I've since stepped away from PvP games because
I like a mix too, Infinity.
my gamer rage. I don't need that as part of my life.
Matt grew up. He's moved beyond his nerd rage.
Gave me power beyond my imagination, but at what cost?
he didn't know what to do with all that power. But yeah, I agree with that sentiment. I am a fan of pretty much most, if not all, aspects of a game, depending on the genre. And I love PvP from time to time, but I mean, that's an odd thing to go after, considering there are games out there that are free of, or I would say mostly free, if not completely free of, these gacha mechanics and the login bonuses and et cetera, that was mentioned in the law, that are focused on PvP, like entire games that they're built around player versus player interaction.
So two separate issues that we've talked about here. I just want to make sure that what I have to say on this is clear. The gambling aspect, absolutely not. No. If you're going to have an aspect of gambling in your game, or you're going to use mechanics or the methodology or the psychology or whatever, then don't sell the game to kids. Simple as that. Don't have kids playing the game.
Exactly.
But on the other side of it, when it comes to, what did I make my game for? What audience did I make my game for? If I made my game for PvPers, then I made my game for PvPers. You don't want a PvP, then don't play it.
Exactly. Yep.
Yeah. And
well, the mechanic, the reason this has been mentioned before in some of the videos that have covered this already, and I think they are onto something. The reason why I feel like this was put into that law is because of a lot of these games that have the gacha mechanics, that have the loot boxes and daily login bonuses and all the things we've been talking about thus far, are more or less pay to win. Meaning you can pay to advance your character quickly, get better gear, or a chance to get the top tier gear, to skip a bunch of content and just go right to end game, or right to the kind of the head of the line, so to speak. You can buy these kind of convenience items, as they're called, in these games. You can buy that. So I feel like that's kind of what they're targeting, not necessarily the PvP aspect of a game.
I don't know. It's hard to say, because remember, this is China, and there's one thing about China is that they very heavily regulate the media that their people are able to consume. And I think a lot of this, such as the first PvP and like daily login bonus bit, I'll preface this saying this is completely me speculating. So take this with a grain of salt. But I think a lot of this is towards a lot more of that regulation of media for them. Like, for instance, and I do believe that, especially for minors, there is a law about how many hours that they can spend online, especially on video games. And so,
I mean, to be fair, I don't disagree with that either, because you got some people who live online.
Well, true, but I mean, there's trying to regulate that legally is a whole can of worms, especially if you're over here in America.
All right.
But-
So I'm going to be controversial for just a moment here because I think the difference is that over here in the United States, video games are like the official, unofficial babysitters.
Wow, Greg dropping a truth bomb right here.
Hey,
You're
hey,
not wrong.
I learned to read from an early age. Thanks to video
I'm
games.
not saying that they're not educational, man. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying that's
They are,
you know, in a
It's-
lot of
they've
ways.
replaced TV. They've replaced TV because TV used to be the unofficial babysitter. Pop
Oh,
the
yeah.
kid right in front of TV, turn on some cartoons, and just leave them. They'll just stay there all day. Now it's video games, or it's mobile, your phone or your tablet or whatever. Yeah,
Yeah,
I mean that's a really good point, Greg.
Don't want to deal with your kid for a while? Buy him a new game. I mean,
Yep.
yeah.
yeah, it's sad, but I mean, it's
Yeah, but back to the point I was making is because of that regulation of like how much time a minor can spend online, which I'm pretty sure is a thing. I think I should probably be looking this up right now. Maybe once I'm done talking about, I'll correct myself if I need to afterwards. But that would make it sense to go after the daily login bonuses because that pretty much that encourages people to go over that limit that they've set.
Yeah.
Because now it's like they don't want them logging into these games every single day to play.
Cyberpunk does actually kind of include commercials. They're just not selling anything you can actually buy. I mean,
Well, they're fake commercials.
They're in-game
they're
commercials.
very highly entertaining. I will put it that way.
They are.
that one like billboard or poster that you see everywhere. 3 mouths, 1 desire.
Boy, oh boy.
Like you see that plastered everywhere in the game.
I'm very
the
glad
fact-
that the notice came up that we are an audience-only 18 plus channel
Yeah,
right then.
yeah,
That's not anything too explicit there.
But Greg, it's funny that you mentioned that because take a look around at today's media.
Yeah,
Commercials left, right, fucking center. Here's the thing: we covered this in in a couple episodes of the NBA log, like two episodes, I think, back of the VGAs, the Video Game Awards. What was 80% of that motherfucking thing? Commercials.
Ads,
advertisement.
reveals, etc. But hey, we got to see the Muppets.
Got to see the Muppets, baby. That's right.
Yeah. I did like that bit. I won't lie.
It was a little entertaining. I ain't gonna lie. It was kind of funny.
There's a time, commercial advertising. I mean, it's. I'm not going to say that it's completely bad, but it's definitely and the VGA was a perfect example of it. It definitely is way. It's insane. I mean, you look at you watch the VGAs from this year. I mean, it's just nuts how much commercial time was in there.
It's fucking absolutely horrendous. I think you can boil it down to like 40 minutes, if that.
Yeah, I think they gave a couple of awards somewhere in that 3-hour long program.
Yeah, no, they're speed around that shit. I mean, if you really would like, I mean, we did a whole ass podcast on the Game Awards. What was that, last week or the week before?
Both. Didn't we do? Oh no, that was last
that
week.
was The Witcher.
Yeah,
No, it was
week.
a couple weeks ago because we
Yeah.
did 2 weeks of The Witcher, and then it was before The Witcher.
Oh, okay. But yeah, I mean that's a whole other thing. But we've talked about that length. It was bad.
Yeah, it was
But
terrible.
yeah, honestly, it's gonna be interesting to see how this law in China shakes out.
Yes,
if it
video
gets
game
approved,
commercials.
if what's gonna change about it, if it does, all that type of stuff. Because this stands to make some pretty major waves in the industry if it goes through as is.
Well, if it
Because-
goes through, go ahead. Sorry, Matt. Go ahead.
Yeah, because game makers, especially the big ones like Activision Blizzard, cannot ignore the Chinese market. There's just too much money in there for them to ignore that. And so what the Chinese chooses to regulate will determine what game makers across the world are going to do in their games.
Hmm. No, and that's kind of what I was. Did Insomnia and did they actually pull out of China?
I think I heard something about that. Let me go.
Okay. Well, I guess Blizzard Activision don't give a shit about the Asian market.
Okay, no, yeah. This happened in January, I believe. They shut down their servers in China because of a licensing disagreement with their partner, Chinese game giant NetEase.
Oh, go fuck! And I was actually going to get to that. So if this passes, and honestly, I'm gonna be keeping 100% fucking blunt with you. I don't think it's gonna pass. Primarily because of that right there. NetEase, Tencent, and all the other large gaming corporations over there.
Even
They have enough
even a
money and
blind squirrel
probably-
finds a nut once in a while, man.
True.
I mean, yeah, they're going to do everything in their power
But I
to
think,
prevent that law from passing.
Exactly. I think they're going to do everything in their power to squash that. And here's the thing. I would not be surprised if companies here in the U.S. and in other Western countries, like Western Europe and here, that practice those gotcha mechanics and kind of that gambling, but it's not gambling bullshit, are going to help that. Because again, Matt, you made a very good point. If that passes in a place like China, how long before legislation starts to creep into the West? And then games like Blizzard, games like Elder Scrolls, and studios like that have to cut back and kind of curtail their kind of money grabs.
Yeah, well,
Is that a bad thing?
I'm thinking of like gacha specific.
The way they're doing it, yes.
I
The way
don't know.
they're doing it, absolutely.
I don't know if many Western studios that participate in gacha mechanics, at least nothing that's like well known. Like when you think of gacha, I mostly think of like more Eastern developers, like the biggest one being MiHoYo, people behind Genshin Impact, Honkai Star Rail. They're like
Yeah.
the fucking giants, and they're all about gacha because they make their anime waifus the gacha rewards, and you know what? It fucking works. That gets people, all right.
Everybody want that waifu pillow.
The power of waifus is it's very strong, all right. Yeah, they're mainly
They're
Asian
primarily
folks,
Asian.
so
But here's my argument. They're primarily, yes, they are primarily an Asian market, Asian gaming market ploy. But we have them here in the West. Pre-order bonuses. You got the daily logins, even though again that's kind of skirting that line. But yeah, you got the pre-order shit. We're actually gonna get more into that as we talk about the Diablo 4 proposed expansion price. That fucking dumpster fire. But we have it here in the West. It's not as in your face, it's not as prevalent in as many games, but it's here. And the reason, and unfortunately, I don't see it going anywhere. As a matter of fact, I see it growing to that level, but just clothed differently.
Yeah,
because again, it's another way for companies to get their hands into your wallet.
Yeah, I mean, Battlefront 2 Infinity Court, that was the game that really got a lot of like American legislators in on like let them know about like the whole loot box thing. That's what got the lawmaker attention right there. And that's part of the reason why you don't see loot boxes as commonly these days. You still find them around. Yep. But a lot of the games that used to rely on loot boxes have moved over to the Battle Pass system.
Moved over to Battle Pass, and they've moved over, and another way they get around the whole kind of gambling aspect is like what we've already talked about, what you mentioned, Greg, using the premium currency as a buffer. That's how you do it.
Yeah.
So again, it's already here. Don't get it twisted, guys. That shit's here. It's just not as prevalent, and it's as Shakespeare said, a rose by any other name.
Same shit. Well, I mean, I guess it depends on your class, what you're classifying. Because we're talking about classifying like predatory monetization tactics. Yeah, that's fucking all over the place. But if you're going to be like more specific to gacha, that is mainly Eastern thing. But,
are they not one and the same though? predatory
I mean,
practices to get your money.
like a pre-order bonus for gacha.
I don't know if
those are different things.
I don't know if I agree with saying that any of this is necessarily an East Asian or foreign to the. I'm just gonna say the U.S. market, because I mean, it's here.
It's absolutely not.
It's there.
Yeah.
It's all over the place.
Yeah, it's absolutely not foreign to us.
The entire industry, with few exceptions, is built off of these microtransaction, just every opportunity to reach into your pocket and pull something out. And the worst part is it plays on some of the worst aspects of the human condition is really the way I want to put that. Because
100%.
Gambling is it's a recognized disease.
Yeah.
Simple as that. And to play upon that is very highly predatory in nature.
So that answers your question, Matt, from my perspective. Are they two different methods of the same outcome? Yeah, but they're the same shit. Absolutely, in my mind, they're the same thing. They're just different roads to the same fucking outcome. Getting more money out of you and here's the thing, for no value. That to me, that's the part that sticks in my fucking craw. For no fucking value.
Yeah,
like it'd be different if, like, again, we're going to talk about this here in a minute, if Diablo 4 wasn't a steaming pile of shit. And that's and here's the thing, I'm at full transparency, I have not played the game. I've watched enough let's plays to let me know that I don't want to play the game. I'm a long time lover of Diablo.
That's an interesting bit there, Infinity War, because you're right, especially when it comes to the video game landscape. Value is completely subjective.
I agree most of the way there. Value is definitely subjective. Each person is going to have a different threshold of value. But I think it is objective in the sense that if I pay a certain amount of money for a game, and you as the creator of this game, or a product, we'll say it doesn't even have to be a game, a thing, and you say it's going to have X, Y, X, A through Z, and it doesn't provide that, then you have not given me value that you yourself have set by saying, hey, I'm going to give you A through Z for what you've paid.
Okay, so value, all right, and it's very easy to look at this as, here's the thing. When you're defining value in any sense, any industry, value is created when it changes your experience. Okay? Now,
fair enough.
Does that mean that some of these predatory actions are in essence value?
That's an interesting argument.
It depends on whether that value that's created for you is created to improve your experience. That's really what it comes down to. And I think in a lot of cases, what ends up happening, because it's kind of like the idea about lies, because there's always a little bit of truth in the lies. And I think it's the same thing there. You in most of these games, they start out with something good. I mean, you get your the login reward thing. We talked about that earlier. That's I mean, what's wrong with that? It's just you're already paying the fee to play the damn game, so they're just giving you a little something extra. Okay, that's fine. All right, you're providing some value that sets you apart from. And here's again, definition of value. It changes the experience. Something changes. That's what defines value. Something changes. Okay. Now, when it becomes a predatory issue where now they've hooked you on the change, that's where the issue comes in. That's where you have to start questioning, okay, is this really providing value for me? Because Now I'm hooked on the change. I want my experience to change. You've created an environment where there's this issue, and the only way I can change it is to spend more money. Now, is that providing value for the customer, or is that providing value for yourself? And that's where the real question comes in. If you really want to provide value, you need to look at this about improving the customer's experience and not sucking more money out of their pocket. And I'm not saying that that's entirely what all these companies are doing, but I tell you what, I'm hard pressed to believe that a lot of these companies, a lot of these games are not exactly that. And if you really listen to, them talk about the life cycle of the game itself, and that's the whole idea behind the life cycle is that you have that building stage. You have your beginning piece where it's first released and you get the first shot. You want to sell as much as you can because you want to try and cover your initial costs right up front. That's what determines whether the game's a success or not. Then you have your build point until you hit your peak, and your peak is your peak viewership, basically, where you're going to hit the maximum amount of people that are going to play that game at any one point in time. And then you have the backside, which is the downside of that life cycle, and that's where you're going to try and get as much money as you can out of that thing. And that's where things start to get ugly, because you're not worried about improving the experience for the customer anymore.
Yeah, you're already past that point.
Yeah, you're just worried about how much money can I make off of this at that point, and that's where the predatory nature comes in.
Yeah. And so Infinity Core, just to kind of address the chat real quick, he says, he says define value, and in his words, value is subjective, period, no matter what you're referring to. And I think you can agree, Infinity Core, we've kind of agreed most of the way there, but disagreed in some instances. But to address what you said, what the last thing you said there, you pre-ordered Homeworld 3 and you dished out for the Fleet Command Edition, but I did this based on my history of what those games provided in the past, referring to Homeworld 1 and 2. And that's my point there. You dished out the money for whatever edition that you're getting based upon your experience with that company and the game. But I would also say you did it based on what was coming with that. And again, like we said, the value that or rather that you expect, because you don't know for sure that Homeworld 3 is going to provide all the things that they say they're going to do. But based upon your experience with them, you're dishing out that money for what you're paying. Yeah, exactly, for that expectation. Now, for you, based on that list of expectations and list of the assumed, offering that you're going to give you, that to you is value because you enjoy that IP. And in that regard, yes, that is a subjective take on value. However, objectively, that's still like you still look at the offering, and that's still value, is what I'm getting at. Like, I agree, 90% of what we as individuals perceive as value is what we personally value. That's the subjective point. Yeah. The last 10%, from my perspective, is if I get a piece of furniture from my IKEA, it's supposed to have all the pieces, all the tools to put that thing together. If it doesn't, then I didn't get value for what the fuck I paid for, because I can't fucking use this thing.
Yeah. No. Since we're talking about value, let's actually use this as a segue into the Diablo 4 expansion and its price tag that Blizzard is kind of playing around with. Now, before we get to this, it isn't released yet, and this price isn't confirmed.
No,
what Activision Blizzard did was put out a little survey and it'd be like, hey, how do you guys feel about paying $100 for our next expansion? A little wink wink, trying to be charming. So let's talk about value here, because a $100 expansion, and I get, as far as my understanding goes, there's a couple different versions of the expansion, kind of like how for a game you have the standard edition, the collector's edition, the super mega ultra edition.
So also
Bullshit.
to put into context, the base game for Diablo 4 is $70. They're asking you, or rather, they're hoping that you'd be okay with paying 30% more.
I'm sorry, Gemma. That made me laugh. It better reach out and give me a happy ending for that much coin. You know what?
I agree with you.
I agree.
I fucking agree with that. That shit better. I better. Yeah.
Wow. With all
better
this
do
stuff
things.
tonight, I might have to move us over to the art channel.
Yeah.
We'll
Wow.
get into that can
Okay.
of worms later, but yeah,
Foreshadowing for later. Yes, we're gonna get into. Boy,
Yes,
that
I
one.
believe like the price range was like $50 for the cheapest version, and then $100 at the like upper limit, which
You're good, Gemma.
is honestly that's fucking crazy to me that an expansion would be that expensive, especially for Diablo 4, because Diablo 4, while at the beginning it was one of Blizzard's fastest selling games ever. Like at launch, the game financially did incredibly well. However, since then, interest in the game has died off super hard. Like, player count is down. I've been having trouble
like
finding this exact number.
99% or some shit like
99,
that.
somewhere. I don't know about 99, but I'll say around 90. A vast majority of that player base has dropped off by now.
Like it's tanked. Like
yeah,
I think
it's
it went
really
from like
fucking tanked.
I think it went from something in the realm of almost 1 million players at peak. Now it's less than 10,000.
Yeah,
and that's
and
via
so-
Steam. I think there might be people who are still again logging in via the Battle.net stuff.
Yeah.
So again, the numbers could be skewed, but suffice to say they've taken a massive hit to concurrent player base.
Infinity Core, that's how I feel when I look at Activision Blizzard. It's a train wreck so horrible. I can't look away from because there's always something coming out of Activision Blizzard like every week that I'm like, what are they up to this time? And this is this week's bit for them. $100 expansion. Because like after everything that the game has gone through and how little interest is in it right now, I'm wondering like who the hell thought that providing expansion was such a high bar to entry? Because at cheapest, $50.
Yeah, that's the cheapest.
That a lot of people are going to be very hesitant to fork up $50 or more for an expansion for a game that is not doing well. I mean, it has enough players to be considered like quote unquote healthy for like a normal game's player base, but
is it?
I mean, I don't think they're in danger of shutting the servers down.
Oh, probably not. But no.
So if they're making enough money to keep their servers up, then there's a healthy enough player base, even if it's a shell.
Yeah, it just depends on are people going to pay it. That's the thing. Are people going to pay it? Will the market bear that price?
And honestly, Greg. Yeah, I think they will. Honestly, and it's disappointing to say, because, and again, that's going to be a hot take, and some people might be upset about this, but we're part of the fucking problem. The game industry, the game community, the consumers are part of why companies get away with this shit. Because you got folks out there who and here's the thing. I'm gonna preface all this by saying just my opinion, number one. Number two, you don't gotta give a shit. You're not obligated to. However, the fact that you have people out there who are willing to buy into pre-orders, who are willing to pay the extra money for the collector's edition, who are willing to pay, the whales are one category, but the vast, aside from them, you got people who are willing to pay that and see no issue and be like, you know what, it's not that deep for me, I don't care. And you know what, more power to you. But again, we are part of that problem of why companies like Blizzard, Activision get away with putting out a piece of shit and then turning around and asking for, at max $100 for an expansion to that piece of shit.
Roll
Yeah.
that right back to the MMO piece. ESO.
Yeah.
I mean, all the crap they're selling you is stuff you can get in the game. They're just
Yep.
repackaging it and selling it to you. That's all
Selling
they're
for
doing.
actual fucking money, and their excuse for that is, well, it's convenience.
Well, yeah, convenience. Here's the thing, it comes down to
Fucking convenience.
I feel a little bit adamant about this, so I just want to bring this up when it comes to the value piece and the definition of value. This is something that we've had many conversations about just as ourselves, as Missing Context, which is our studio. Our idea of value is very simply that in everything that we release, everything that we put out there, we're going to provide you something new. We're not going to repackage the old shit and try and resell it to you. That's just not how we're not going to do that. And that's something that from day one we've been very adamant about it. It's going to give you a new experience, or we're not putting it out there. Simple.
Pretty much. Because we want to give you guys, whether it's here at the update log, whether it's with our TTRPG that we're developing, we want to give you something that you're gonna be able to look at and be like, okay, I know what I'm getting, and they're telling me they're gonna give me something. I'm getting that thing, and I find myself enjoying it.
Mhm.
It's bringing value to me. So I'm getting what I'm paying for. And that, honestly, that's at the core of everything that we're doing. You're getting value for your time, your investment, things like that. Yeah, pretty much. That's essentially what we're going for. Like because again, we're same like you guys. We're consumers too. We play video games too. We play games too. We buy that stuff. So all three of us understand what it's like to be on the shit end of that particular stick, because it happens to us too. Matt, I think you've been trying to say something.
I try hard to see things from their point of view. The unfortunate part is I just can't get my head up my ass. So
listen, everyone has their head up their ass in one way or another.
Speak for yourself, Matt. I do not. My head is firmly not up my ass.
I don't know. That sounds just like someone with their head up their ass would say.
Touche, sir. Touche.
But yeah, so with this expansion and this proposed absurd price tag, again, it hasn't been confirmed yet, but that's what they're intending to do as of right now. And honestly, it gives an air of desperation to me, because obviously Diablo 4, they expected this to be a lot bigger than it is right now. They poured a lot of money and development time into making this game. It took nearly a decade to make this game.
Yeah, with that piece that you just said, Matt, let's go into why them asking $400 is so fucking wild.
Well, yeah, because what I think is happening is because they're trying to recoup, again, because there's so few players now compared to what they would have expected, because so many of them have dropped, that it was an expensive game to make. For like 10 years, putting all that development into it, Blizzard, they do know how to make a good looking game. The graphics are good, cinematics look amazing. It's an expensive ass game. So when the player count drops that heavily, that's a lot of lost revenue. So I could see one of the reasons behind this such a high price tag is like they're just desperate to get some of that money back. I mean that's one of, that, at least for me, that's like kind of like my working theory as to why it's so expensive that way. Because like
$400 is okay.
Yeah, definitely. And like
that game better be like, I don't know. I don't even know what I would want to pay $400 for.
400, no. 400?
Isn't that what you said? 400?
No, 100.
Oh, okay, 100.
Yeah,
even
yeah.
100. Even 100.
It's 100 for the as like the.
I could swear I heard somebody say $400.
Ultra deluxe edition.
No.
of the expansion.
Oh,
It seems desperate, and like here's my question, because this doesn't it what Blizzard is doing, and because like a lot of their games have been losing a lot of players. It like what they doing does not seem sustainable at all.
Well, the reason why. No, go ahead. Sorry, go ahead, Matt.
Because as I can't remember if it is Insomnia or Infinity that said before with this price tag that some people are going to pay it, but it's going to drive others away. So how long can Blizzard go continuously chasing people away?
depends on what kind of backdrop that is. Insomnia. I mean,
Yeah, so less and less people over time are going to be playing their games, even if they have highly monetized games. They have a dwindling player base.
Quick question.
That's go ahead.
This is primarily for the audience. Has anybody here played Diablo 4? By any chance? Anybody in the audience have played Diablo 4 at all?
Don't worry. You don't have to be ashamed or anything. I mean,
yeah, you don't have to be ashamed.
Harper shamefully raises hand.
Hey, come on now. No shaming. Don't be like that. Don't be like that. It's okay. It's okay.
Based on how shamefully you raise that hand, I'm guessing that $50 to $100 is not a price you would pay for that expansion. Or do you intend to get it? Oh, hell no. Yeah.
Well, and here's the reason.
There, you have now redeemed yourself, Harper. By the
way. And here's the thing, though. This is kind of the reason why so again, as we mentioned earlier, just to give you guys some backstory, Blizzard put out a poll. They put out a community poll basically asking, would you guys pay $50 to $100 for an expansion? And overwhelmingly the response was fuck no.
Yeah.
And the temerity that they had to even suggest that price tag is wild, considering they've got competition. And very stiff competition. You got, first of all, you got a 10 plus year old game, Path of Exile, still beating the brakes off of Diablo 4. Diablo 4 just came out.
Yeah,
you got Path of Exile 2 coming out sometime next year. You got
Path of Exile is free to play also.
Exactly. I was just about to get to that. You have games that are priced at a low are at a lower price point, like Last Epoch, Grim Dawn, and Path of Exile, just to name 3. And hell, we'll even say Lost Ark is in there too. Yeah, you got 4 options that are priced at a lower price point and offer more build customization, more core character customization, more options at end game. Different things to do at endgame. And here's the thing: Path of Exile has that number 1 spot, opposite Diablo, primarily because they have 10 years of content for free. I'm gonna say that again: 10 years worth of content. That's including expansions, not just updates. Expansions, whole expansions for free. Now, Grinding Gear Games, which is developers of Path of Exile, they're not squeaky clean. They've done some foobar shit. But by and large, Path of Exile, fantastic fucking game. Grinding Gear Studio, great studio. I know because I actually played the game and play it from time to time. I played it since before it launched, actually. So over 10 years ago. I remember watching creators like Ziggy D and all those guys talk about builds and stuff like that. So you got something of that quality still producing, to that high degree, and still giving you options on how you want to approach the game. Meanwhile, you have Diablo 4 over here, still buggy, still, you don't have depth of character customization. Apparently, stash space is an issue. And actually, I'm gonna get into that in a second.
That's a fucking cardinal sin for a looter. Game based around loot.
Yep.
So, and Infinity Core, you do bring up a good point. It's not even Path of Exile is free to play, but it does have its monetization in the game.
Okay,
But-
let me clarify, guys. Yes, Diablo, Path of Exile is free to play. You can play the entire game for free. Do they have microtransactions? Yes. Is it pay to win? No. Like I said, I've played the game since it came out and for years after. I don't play it as much anymore, just because I got other shit to do. But all of the things in that cash shop are either convenient, meaning you don't get like an XP boost or a level skip or whatever the fuck most of these other microtransaction shops give you. Are convenient stuff like more stash space, stuff like that, or cosmetic, purely cosmetic. There's nothing in there that gives you an in-game advantage over anyone else. The argument can be made that the more stash space you have, the more shit you can keep. That's an in-game advantage. I think you're splitting hairs at that point. That's just me. But the major point is you have a game that's completely free to play, that's 10 years old, providing more value in the genre than a game that pretty much just came out. And literally, I think there's only 3 things that you can do at endgame, which is like Chaos Dungeons and like 2 other piddly fucking things.
Yeah, again, like the value bit is subjective, but I mean, let's talk about the cost to play these games, because if Diablo, you have that initial $70 price tag.
Wait just a minute, because I mean, we maybe should back off just a little bit on Blizzard Activision, because they did only make $7.5 billion. I mean,
I would never back off. Not when it comes to these guys. But like, yeah, I mean, the costs to play these games, because Diablo, you have the $70 initial price tag. Maybe you're lucky and get on sale, maybe less. But there's the monetization that's already in the game, and then the expansion prices. Meanwhile, you have something like Path of Exile, a very similar experience, because they're they're the same genre of game. But there's no bar to entry. It's a free to play, and then you only have to deal with that game's monetization. So overall, there's a lot less money you're probably dishing out for Path of Exile for a very similar experience.
So so the $100, and just be clear on this, because I don't have that information right in front of me, but the $100 is for a download, or is that for an actual physical game?
I mean, it's just the expansion.
Honestly, I think that's for that's a good point. I'm pretty sure that's for the fucking digital copy still.
Yeah, it comes with some extra bells and whistles compared to, let's say, the $50 version.
Catch, Greg.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Well, that's the thing is, I mean, that's anybody in marketing will tell you that the money is in selling IP, the digital downloads. That's what you want to do. Even if you're an author, you write a book, you want to sell digital downloads, because you only have to do the work once and you can sell it forever.
Yeah, you don't have to get like a book printed or anything.
Or like a statue made or anything.
Data is a lot cheaper than a physical ass book. But
that's that. Okay, so in this case, that is definitely not providing value. I don't care if the game was actually good. That's not providing value to anybody but themselves.
I mean, you guys want to know what I think would be an absolutely crazy thing for Blizzard to do, but would actually, I think, be very good for them? Release an expansion for free.
Bro!
And here's the thing.
They're about to pull a Watsy on you and send the Pinkertons on your ass.
No, like, do you know how many people would likely go back to Diablo 4 if they released a free expansion? Because they're still going to make money off these people that come back because of all the other monetization that's in the game.
I don't know.
We could bring a lot of people back if they did that.
We could get at least another $500 million out of that free expansion. I mean,
I don't know, man. I'm starting to think, Greg, you're a sleeper for Blizzard, bro.
I'm serious. Like this, because the way I see Blizzard going down now does not seem sustainable in the long run. It seems like they're really chasing those short-term profits over the long-term health of their games and
Well,
overall company.
They're probably worried because in 2021 they made 8.8 billion. So I mean, they're losing money.
Yeah, they lost a whole $1 billion.
Yeah, and so they're going for the short-term profits, but that's not sustainable. We're seeing that now.
Well, we're seeing
Diablo
that
keeps
problem across the industry as a whole.
Yeah, we are seeing that. And these companies are starting to fail because they aren't thinking about the long-term health of their games, their communities, their companies. And so slowly they're slowly losing because they keep driving more and more people away. If they release some shit for free, like if this expansion was free, that would bring so many people back to Diablo 4. And with all the other monetizations that they have as well, like that would bring money to them. Someone who hasn't played Diablo before, hasn't bought it yet, hears that there's that they have free expansions, they're going to be more incentivized to buy Diablo because that free expansion adds value to that initial $70 price tag. Like, I mean, there's a reason that something like No Man's Sky was able to make a comeback, even after their disastrous fucking launch. With the slogan "No Man's Lie," they provided free expansion after free expansion, and they've fucking made it back. They redeemed themselves. They're back in the game. People nowadays, No Man's Sky is well regarded, and they're making a new game. And please don't let the same thing happen. But
same thing with Cyberpunk Red. They put their nose to the grindstone. They, for the most part, I will say they've owned up to their mistakes and said, "Yeah, we fucked up," and they made the game way better. And then they dropped fucking Phantom Liberty, which is, from everything I've seen, I haven't gotten there yet in my playthrough, but from everything I've seen, is absolutely fucking phenomenal and well received.
Yeah.
And that I mean, again, the sad part is companies that do that are at this point, they're the exception to the rule.
Oh yeah,
they're the rarity.
Yeah, you wouldn't see anyone else deciding to stick with No Man's Sky and actually turn that shit around.
No, they would have just dropped it and moved on.
Else being like Larian Studios, making it a point not to include microtransactions in their game.
Mm-hmm.
Like, yeah, those types of things are becoming the exception. And look at them; they're doing well. It turns out, like, actually focusing on the long-term health of your community and not continuously pissing people off with shitty business tactics works out in the long run.
Who would have thunk that?
I know. Who'd have thunk it?
But and here's the thing. Also, I'm gonna kind of circle back to another reason why this price point for a fucking expansion is mind-boggling. So I mentioned earlier the concept of stash base, the absolutely vital for a loot game or an action RPG or any loot game where you're collecting a bunch of equipment and stuff. That's a major problem in Diablo 4 as it stands right now. Now with the expansion, and again, nothing is set in stone, so please take this with a grain of salt. Shit is subject to change. But as it stands now, and we mentioned already how there's going to be different versions. You have the base edition, the deluxe edition, the collector's edition. That's typically how it goes. Not only is early access to the expansion going to be tied up to that, so I'm pretty sure you'll get in. Either you'll get in earlier with the deluxe and collector's edition, or you'll get in earlier in stages. Meaning, if you get the deluxe edition pre-order, you'll get in a day earlier. The base edition you get in a day earlier. The deluxe edition you get in 2 days earlier. The collector's edition you'll get in 3 days earlier. So that's the thing, and that's the thing that's been happening quite a bit. I've seen in some of their games. But also, increased stash space will also go up as you buy the more expensive versions.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
Yeah, and that honestly, I think is starting to get a little into the pay-to-win territory.
What the fuck? You mean to tell me I gotta pay more money for a system that should be in the motherfucking game to begin with? Someplace to
Me
put
too.
my shit?
I mean, that's the same stuff I say
I could
about
go with
Elder
the
Scrolls
cool
Online.
stick.
They do the same fucking thing. They create an intentionally frustrating and very limited inventory system so that they can sell you the expanded
Yeah,
inventory that
the
makes
And
it
it works.
not a fucking
And
headache.
it works.
It works.
It does. It does. It worked
That
on me when I
fucking-
played Elder Scrolls.
That crafting bag. That crafting
Yeah,
item
the
bag.
crafting bag. Once I got a taste of it through the free trial, I
They
was like,
hooked you. Matt
crying
couldn't,
open my wallet. It's like, no.
Matt couldn't go back to being a pleb. Yeah, no,
No.
that's not. They get you. Like that shit blows my mind though.
Yeah,
They're-
and
they're
you know
hiding-
that's fucking by design.
They're well. See, and that's that to me right there. What you just said is the predatory practices that a lot of companies are moving towards. We are purposely by design. And here's the thing: don't get it fucking twisted. This isn't an accident. This isn't just. They are purposefully doing this.
You know,
All games that do it, they are purposefully doing this to turn around and sell you the fucking solution.
I agree 100%. I do have to defend a little bit on this because that crafting bag. Okay. Okay. Well, here's the
I'm
thing
listening.
with this.
I'll be sharpening my pitchfork in the corner. But I'm listening.
The crafting bag was not something that was originally released with the game.
It was not. No.
So, therefore, it does provide value.
Yes, but you
It-
can't tell me that the
It's
inventory wasn't frustrating to deal with.
Oh, and I'm not saying. I mean, that was very. I'm sure that was deliberate. They knew that would be a selling feature. I'm sure of that. I mean, and you know, that's like one of those light bulb moments that are like, hey, you know what? Let's get get people really into this crafting piece for this game. We'll only give them limited inventory space, and then later on we'll charge them to have more.
Mm-hmm.
It did change the experience of the game. It did. So it added value. And you were going to pay the membership regardless because you want to play the game. And you don't pay the membership, you don't play the game. Simple as that.
No.
Online, anyway. So was it a value add item? Yes, it was.
Yeah, the question is whether or not that value should have been part of the base game and not just sold to you separately. I think that's one thing.
I
There's
don't disagree with you.
Yeah.
I think it should have been part of the base game. Absolutely. I think it's kind of a shitty way to go about it, but I mean, it still did provide value.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. But I think it kind of boils down again with everything that we've just said about the game. And not just us. We're not the only people saying this. The whole community is saying all this shit. In what universe does Blizzard think that it's okay to charge $50 to $100 for an expansion?
Apparently
This one, obviously.
And again, well, I know that's a rhetorical question. But again, we as consumers are part of that problem because you're gonna have people who are gonna buy that shit, who are gonna pre-order the collector's edition.
Yeah, but again, like it's
And obviously
gonna
there's
chase
nothing
people away
to be
also.
done about it. People can do whatever the fuck they want with their money. But it just blows my mind that you have folk. You know what? I'm gonna be completely blunt, my personal opinion. But you got shills out there who are beating the drum for fucking Blizzard. Oh no, they're great. You know they've made World of Warcraft and they're awesome. Hell yeah.
Oh yeah, I mean,
It's like you got
anything's gonna have
blinders on.
diehard fans.
Yeah, fucking blinders on. It's like, come on.
Well, here's the thing: for those people,
It's like drug addicts supporting the drug dealer.
well, I mean, I won't argue that point.
You are
but
absolutely
this-
not wrong if it's all about that dopamine hit. I mean,
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
this goes back to the value bit being subjective, because for those people, they are getting value because they're enjoying this stuff, they're buying it. So like for them, this is what they want,
And
this
here's-
is what they're getting, it's what they're
here's
paying
the
their
thing.
money for.
For that subjective piece that we all agree is inherent in determining value, you are right. But in that other piece where, at least objectively from my perspective, and again, I guess that inherently makes it subjective, but I think we can kind of all agree, value also is determined by, you're telling me you're going to give me this, I'm paying you for that, and you don't give me that, you're not giving me fucking value. And here's Blizzard saying, oh yeah, we're going to have this, this, and this, and they don't provide that, and you're still paying them fucking money.
Yeah, and this is another one of the reasons why I say that the way Blizzard is going isn't sustainable in the long run.
And the
Because
sad
you're going
part
to
is
have those
they're getting rid
diehard
of Bobby
fans.
Kotick, so they got no excuse for being shit.
It all comes.
They're going to continue to push people away. They're going to continue pushing these bounds of how much their remaining fans are willing to pay for things. And each time they do that, they're going to push more away. They're not getting, like, their way of doing things isn't going to be bringing new people in. It's just going to be continuously pushing old people out.
I mean, honestly, at this point, I don't think they care about player retention. I think
Oh,
it's
no,
about,
they don't.
it's about grabbing the new player and making them drop the money and stay for a little while. But they've already dropped their money, so we don't give a shit.
But like I said, they're chasing the
I have
short-term
to
profits.
guess by our chat that if they're charging anything more than 3 candy wrappers and a cool stick, that it ain't worth it.
You ain't buying it. Yeah, you guys aren't buying it, and I respect that. I respect.
Although Gemma does say it depends on the candy wrapper, so I'm
True.
you know, what kind of candy is
Some-
that? I
some
mean,
candy
Yeah, let's
wrappers
ex-
you kinda
let's
wanna
ex-
save for yourself.
Let's expand on that, Gemma. What kind of candy wrappers are we talking about here? Huh?
Where's some premium candy wrappers? Like, where are the candy wrappers? Kit Kats? You know what? Fashionable candy wrapper. I agree.
Kit Kats. Okay. I mean, Kit Kats, alright. They alright.
I like Kit Kats. They're
Yeah.
good.
I was thinking more like an Almond Joy or a Mars bar. Ooh, Mars bar. It's good stuff.
Twix is negotiable. Got it.
Whoa! You better not be slandering Twix. No, we're not gonna have that in this chat. Twix are king. Okay, even better than Snickers. I said what I said.
So,
Speaking of mounds, do we want to talk about the Twitch thing?
Oh boy, that
Different kinds of mounds were being shown, but
mounds.
I applaud that
Indeed.
segue. I applaud that. Well done, man. Well done. Well done. Yeah, apparently not too long ago, all the mounds were out.
Insert
All
awkward segue here.
All the
Yes, I
fucking mounds
did.
were out on Twitch, boy. Holy fucking shit.
So let's talk about that.
The,
Let's talk
the,
about
the
that.
days of the bikinis along the pool and are gone, and we've moved on now. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, exactly.
Jesus
But-
Christ.
Okay,
Twitch.
so for those
Take it away, Matt. Take it
So
away.
for those who don't know, I imagine if you spend a fair amount of time on Twitch, you've probably heard of this, but if not, here's a bit of a recap. This happened, about a week ago by now? Maybe
Something like that, yeah.
something like that. So Twitch altered its community guidelines on certain types of content that were allowed on Twitch.
Mhm.
In this case, it was the topic of mainly art streams, and they were changing their guidelines to allow for what they called artistic nudity. And let me tell you, the following 24 hours after they made that change was chaotic as hell. Holy shit, man.
Fucking degenerates came out like they came out like roaches after you turn off the fucking lights.
Yeah, so we can we can get to a bit
Holy
of
shit.
what is considered artistic nudity or not, but based on what we just said and Twitch not doing the best job of being specific in their guidelines, so people knew what exactly was and wasn't okay, there was a lot of things on Twitch. Now, granted, you needed to put a certain tag onto your stream, and that would make it so that you wouldn't be visible to like, in the recommended or any of that stuff.
But let's face it.
That's one thing. But yeah, I mean, someone looking for this stuff is still going to find it.
Oh, yeah.
But
and it wasn't very hard to find either.
Yeah, but there were some things that went beyond just their guidelines for what was considered artistic nudity and went to straight up just
porn.
We'll say the not tasteful nudity.
Fucking porn is what it was.
Essentially, yes. There was, and like it was a very chaotic 24 hours because you had some people that were doing things per the guidelines, and I don't think those people were doing anything wrong. And you had people that were taking things way too far and like showing some pretty raunchy stuff, to say the least. Obviously, we can't really show examples of what that was, but just know that there was some horrid shit. Okay, you're saying softcore? Not even, man. Not even.
Let me put it this way: there was some art there showing whole ass assholes, just blam.
Yeah, there were some channels that were using AI art to just crank out image after image.
Yep.
It got bad. And there were so many like bans that were happening around that time. Many of them rightful for people who were taking things too far, but also there were also a lot of artists that were doing things per the guidelines, like playing by the rules. A lot of them also did get banned in this whole process. And it was so chaotic. It went over so poorly that after 24 hours, Twitch doubled back. They reverted it. They're like, okay, you know what? We're done.
We're done. Yeah, we fucked up.
The common Twitch L, I guess we'll say. This reminds me of their a couple months back with their sponsorship bit where they tried like cut in on that and how poorly that went.
Yeah, but here's the thing for me personally. Number one, Twitch. Now, me and Matt have discussed this at length, and we've agreed and disagreed on certain points. But Twitch used to be a platform for streaming video games. Now it's since evolved into streaming other things like podcast talks and
art streams
and stuff. And I personally am okay with it. That's fine. Granted, I think Twitch should stay true to what it is. It is a video game / game streaming platform. Up to and including TTRPG streams, like Let's Plays and stuff like that. So all the extra shit, in my opinion, can fucking go. But the fact that they thought and still think, because you have those streamers who, and again, this might rub people the wrong way, and quite frankly, I don't give a shit. I'm just gonna be blunt because this is a problem, in my opinion. You got those streamers who are out there, oiled titties up there, bouncing around, nipples barely showing, and that's okay. And in those same streams, you got links to OnlyFans, forgetting that this is a platform where kids come to watch their fucking favorite streamers.
They didn't forget. Yeah. Who you kidding?
You're right. I stand corrected. They didn't forget. They don't give a shit.
Yeah, I mean that stuff is certainly a problem. But let's have a discussion real quick about like what is artistic nudity.
Yeah, let's go to
that. And like where is that line where it becomes artistic nudity? When does it just become essentially just pornography? Because I mean, you'll have things like everyone knows about the Statue of David, right? Yep. And that thing's just got just man dangly bits hanging right out there, and a bunch of like those are in like history books, art books all over the world. Some children have seen that.
You must have seen you must have seen somebody like throw that argument out there somewhere, Matt.
I mean, yeah, I have, because that is one of the cases of what is considered artistic nudity. Because it has a penis, but that is not the point of the statue.
It's not the point of the statue.
Right.
So the point of the Statue of David is not sexual gratification. That
Yeah.
I think, and so I believe that things like the Statue of David or other pieces of artwork that may contain nudity, but is not for the sole purpose of that
Of
nudity,
nudity. Yeah.
is under that umbrella of artistic nudity.
Yeah. Well, based off of
I mean, look, it's a tough. It's a tough conversation. I think everyone is going to have that line in different places of what is and isn't acceptable.
And here's the thing, Infinity. It reminds me of a TikTok. It's art. Yeah, you're right. It's pretty much what it is. But Infinity, it is, again, like Matt said, it's going to be subjective, just like pretty much every piece of art. However, there's a general agreement amongst humanity where we can tell a piece of art, whether nudity is involved, where nudity is involved, like that's a piece of art that is trying to convey something that's just not, private parts hanging out. And I mean, there was actually, I think it was a court case, not necessarily on this, but basically what the point I'm getting at is that basically a lawyer said, I can't put my finger on why X thing is that, but I'll know it when I see it. It's kind of the same thing with, again, art, like actual art that just happens to have nudity in it, and pornography, of the artistic sense.
Yeah.
And again, there was actually there's a couple of people who have kind of already said their piece on this, and one in particular, I think his name is Rubber Ross or something like that.
Yeah,
Matt?
He's a YouTube and Twitch animator artist.
He actually sat down with a couple of
art professors from different establishments, like in a big old video call.
Yeah, for them to weigh in, and he showed off, some of the clips and stuff from these, basically the porn streams. I'm gonna call them what the fuck they are, and they for the most part agreed, like the intent behind the piece of art. And there were some that were literally just art with some nudity in it, but it was more or less tasteful. And then there were some, like, showing off particular character's anus.
Peter Griffin. I believe there's a good bit of Peter Griffin out there.
Yeah, some Peter Griffin out there in a ball gag and stuff like that. And again, it's about what's the intent of the ball gag? We all know what the intent is.
Yeah, we all know what intent was. But I think that's like the biggest thing, like where the line between artistic nudity and just straight up like pornography is, and Twitch's failure to pretty much tell people where that line is for their guidelines. Yep. Because obviously they did not.
No, not at all. Not even a little bit.
And we saw those results. 24 hours of pure fucking chaos.
And here's the thing. Here's the thing, and I've said this to Matt a number.
No, you're right, Infinity.
Yeah, you're right. You are right,
oh,
Infinity. He says, well, it's not just Twitch. 100% true. But myself and Matt and Greg have had this conversation on this topic, on the Twitch issue. Not only did they fail to really outline, hey, this is what it is, this is what it isn't, but they failed to forget that there are a bunch of fucking degenerates out there who will see a line, and here again, that line, even if they had outlined all that stuff, said, hey, this is what it is, this is what isn't, this is what you're allowed to do, this is what you're not, you have motherfuckers out there who are going to jump face first over that line. I mean, you see it now. You see it now with the hot tub chicks. And here's the thing, for me, in my personal opinion, they shouldn't be here. They shouldn't fucking be here. Twitch is not for that.
Wait, what just happened?
In my opinion. And again, you agree or disagree, I don't give a shit.
Yeah, I mean, in regards to like crossing that line, yeah, you always were gonna get the people who would cross that and push those limits, no matter how well Twitch defined those guidelines. However, I think the thing is that, like, if things worked as intended, and I know this is like, ideal world,
wishful thinking
and all that shit, but if Twitch was actually able to do things fucking right, those people would have been weeded out because they would have pushed things too far beyond the guidelines, and they would get banned, rightfully so. And so other people seeing that happening would be discouraged from doing the same thing. Meaning eventually it always was going to be a period of some chaos. But if they did things right, it would have leveled out and things would have gone as they intended. Unfortunately, as Twitch does, they completely botched it and things got extremely out of hand so fucking quick they had to pull the plug on the entire fucking operation.
No surprise there.
And I think the worst part about it is that those people who were following the guidelines, that were doing what they were told that they could do, and were doing things right, a lot of those people got banned. And when this whole thing, when they've, reverted those rules, those people that got banned unrightfully, I'll say, they stayed banned. And that's the shittiest thing, because they were just following the rules.
Yep.
And they got punished for doing so because Twitch just doesn't
again.
The common Twitch L. They can't help themselves. They really can't.
And here's the thing. The landscape of social media is changing. You can't deny that. And what people want, what people want to see, what people expect to see. That's all changing.
Mm-hmm.
However, certain things like this, for lack of a better way to put it, have their place. And it's not on Twitch. It's not on YouTube. We're all adults. We know where it's supposed to be. And quite frankly, it should stay there. It should stay there, because the Twitch did not start out to have all the different categories that it has. Obviously, it's evolved, and hey, for good or ill, it is what it is. But I think there definitely needs to be a purging of some sort of some of these things, and really get Twitch back to what it should be. It should be a place for people to gather to talk about art, games, stuff like that. If you want to watch, some random thing, go to YouTube. That's what YouTube. You can watch whatever you can watch.
It's not
anything you want.
It's not a flesh opera.
Exactly.
Really, that's
come on, guys.
But it is a flesh opera, because all you got to do is go to your browser right now, and you can.
Yeah. But those places have their place. They shouldn't be here. And them, first of all, putting that out there to begin with was a bad idea. And then putting that kind of guideline out there in the state that they did, even worse.
Yeah. Again, there was always going to be that period of chaos where people were going to cross that line intentionally.
Mm.
But the fact that they just did not well define that line in the first place led to so much more confusion and just fuckery all around.
And again, what people will tolerate and not just tolerate, but people want to imbibe as their media is changing. It's always going to change.
Oh yeah.
However, I feel as a society, from my perspective, again, I'm not trying to be too preachy here, so I'll keep it fucking short and sweet. From my perspective, there are just some things that just leave them in the corner. We'll go to the corner when we want to. Just leave them in the fucking corner, and let the rest of media be what it is. Because that's just inviting way too much of a fucking headache for everybody. We see it, like you said, Matt, was like 24 hours, and then they had to shut that shit down.
Yeah, it was so chaotic.
It was a dumpster fire inside of 24 hours. Come on.
It was a roller coaster ride. That's for sure.
Yeah.
So much crazy stuff out there.
Look, I was watching that video from that we were kind of looking at, and all this stuff was blurred out, obviously, but he was giving descriptors on some of that shit, and I was like, what the? Why?
Yeah.
Why?
It comes down to, it's really simple. That stuff makes money.
Oh yeah.
It does.
Look, there's a reason Tumblr went
Oh yeah,
They,
Tumblr.
when Tumblr stopped letting like sexual content on their site, that site has never recovered since
Since
that
then,
decision.
yeah, sex sells, boy.
It does, it
Sex
does,
sells.
and like there's always going to be places that are going to make that part of their platform, and it's about doing it the right way and managing those lines of what is and isn't acceptable on that site.
Yeah,
That
I agree.
that's what you got
And
to
and
strike,
and here's the
which
thing.
failed at that utterly.
And here's the thing. Despite us having mature theme tags, here Twitch does it, YouTube does it. Despite that, these are still open platforms for anyone of any age to view. Well, to have an account, I think you have to be like 13 or something, at least. But
I
it's
mean, you
13
have to
year old.
say you're at least 13,
Yep.
you know. We could have
Exactly.
an 8-year-old in
Say
here
they're
with us right now.
yeah, you know what I mean. You have so anyone can click on anything and go view it. Let's not make it fucking easier. Come on,
Oh yeah,
we
no,
we can do better as a fucking society. Come on.
I mean, I'd say if Twitch ever does come back to this, they're going to need to they're going to need to be a lot more specific in their guidelines as to what is and is not okay, and two, they need to put in the enough, like, let's say enough layers of protection so that it's a little more difficult for minors to reach that content. Like,
Are you
I
saying
think
there's
as
no
they
hope for
did it
us?
before, if you put on that tag for the artistic nudity, you would not appear in any kind of recommended feed.
I have not Infinity Core. I might have to go look though. But yeah, I mean, it could be. I'm trying to be idealistic here. Infinity Core. It could be like just hoping for the best, when in reality, you're right. We're probably fucked. Oh man.
Well,
But I don't know. Based on that conversation, what does the chat think? What do you guys think on that whole fucking roller coaster situation that Twitch put themselves in?
Yeah, because I do recommend that video from Rubber Ross. It's on YouTube. He titled it "My Response to Twitch." I think it's interesting because he himself is an artist and he speaks to art professors on the topic, and I think those are valuable opinions to hear.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, it was very much an interesting watch. He's a great content creator. Honestly, he does a lot of things where he and several other artists get together and just draw for a while. It's a great place to watch. No, they do a game called they play a game called Gartic Phone. If you've ever heard of that, it's pretty much a game where you and other people can draw together, and they can like combine those drawings like animations or a bunch of other like fun games. And the stuff they've done with that has just been so hilarious.
So my next question, I guess, just for the chat and for us, just as a thought piece, is what was the reason that they decided to change that up? I mean, money, obviously, that's obvious.
Yeah, I mean that's it right there. Let's be real.
But like legitimately, besides money, what was the reason for it? Like, did they ever? Because I couldn't find a reason why they were changing that up.
I mean, I think beyond just the money aspect, I think I've seen several other social media platforms loosen up on their policies about nudity, and mostly in the case of artistic nudity. They've loosened up on those things, and I guess Twitch, I mean, besides just the money bit, they're seeking to kind of follow that trend. Unfortunately, it's Twitch, so of course they're going to botch it, and they did.
That they did. Yes, sir.
So we'll see if they try to take a second crack at it. I don't know, because especially after everything that happened, I'm sure they got some very friendly messages from their advertisers regarding this. As advertisers, obviously, they want to be as family friendly as possible. They don't want their adverts showing up next to something that they don't like.
And rightly so.
Yeah. I mean, there's a
And
reason social media platforms will.
For this platform, it comes down to the problem with it is that the focus of this platform, regardless of how you want to look at it, the focus is this platform because the majority of the content, still the vast majority of the content, is video games.
Oh yeah.
And I'm not saying that that's, that there's everybody plays video games, or well, maybe not everybody, but I mean, as far as the age groups go, I mean that's wide open to who plays video games. But it's still very directed. The advertising, that marketplace is very directed towards the younger audience. And by younger, I mean, adolescents. And that is where the problem comes in for Twitch. And the marketing towards adolescents and nudity and pornography and adult content don't mix. So
yeah, they would need to find a way to reliably keep minors out of that section of Twitch. Which you want that's hard to do.
You want to allow the adult content, then maybe you need to, maybe you have to have a different. Maybe you have to have a Twitch adult channel. Where they can go take off and do whatever they're gonna do.
Nature and hormones disagree with that statement. You know what? Fair point, Infinity.
Unfortunately, yeah. And here's the thing, Infinity, it doesn't stop when you're an adolescent. That's the crazy piece. But that shit still keeps going.
Here's the thing: when it comes to marketing and advertising, okay, you have to do two things when it comes, especially video games. One is you have to pique the interest of the adolescent, but you still have to realize that your customer is the parent. Mm-hmm. So, generally speaking, the customer is the one who's, the parent's the one who's going to have the buying power. So you gotta attract both of those audiences, and as a parent, I would be looking at that, some of this stuff and saying, yeah, I don't, no, I don't want my kids watching that, and there you go. And do you want, from Twitch's standpoint, do you? I honestly, I think it's bad enough now. You go on the just chatting thing, and what are you gonna see? You're gonna see a lot. I mean, I pulled it up just a little bit ago just to see what it looked like, and you got the young ladies in their bathing suits out there, sitting by the pool, and others. I'm not saying that's good or bad content. I'm just saying, if I got a 10-year-old on here wanting to watch video games, I don't want him having access to that, or her, as a parent. So, and if I'm on here looking at it, whether I'm a parent or I'm an advertiser, if I'm on here as an advertiser looking at it and saying, I want to advertise this product to these people, and I see that mix of content, I'm going to be like, okay, I don't want my product associated with that, so I'm going to have to find a way to not let that happen. Which means I'm going to tell Twitch, look, if you want my advertising dollars, that's got to stop.
Yeah, and that's the core of the question there, Infinity. No pun intended. Is it content though, or is it someone just showing themselves?
It is just it's someone just showing themselves. Honestly, I wouldn't even call that those people content creators. I mean, sitting there in a lawn chair next to the pool, I don't know.
I think it's another subjective piece, because technically anything you put out there can be considered content. It's the same thing as the value question. Like, is there value to this content? That's completely subjective, because you can't have a definitive line as what is considered content and what isn't.
Yep, because everyone's going to look at it differently.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
We'll just agree to disagree on that. I understand exactly what you're saying and what it there's a. I'm not going down that path right now.
I was gonna say that's a rabbit hole we can go down forever.
Yeah.
But yeah,
it's easy to put up the argument that everything is subjective. because everybody, you know, opinions are like assholes. Everybody's got one. They all stink. So
Yep.
there you have it. But it really just, you know, you really got to really look at this from the standpoint of what are you trying to measure value based upon? That's really what it comes down to. What are you trying to, what are okay, content, but is it content that benefits anybody? And I'm not just talking about the guy who's out there wanting to spank his monkey or whatever you want to call it.
Hey, that's a benefit to him. He had a need. He needed to spank that monkey.
Yeah, okay.
That man got value right there.
Fucking degenerates.
Well, I mean, this is why even what is considered content or that type of thing is subjective, because the different people are going to value these different things. So what you consider is not content is premium content to someone else.
Well, again, we'll agree to disagree. But before we forget, we got a bit of a housekeeping to do.
We do.
So again, guys, this is the final stream of 2023.
You didn't even get to see Matt and I throw down. Damn, we should have just gone just a little bit further.
Just a little bit. Boxing stream. I got my money on Greg. Got that old man strength.
I've got youth and vigor.
Youth and vigor.
I don't know. Just cut off your hair. It's all locked up in his hair.
They're my limiters, all right?
Mud wrestling. Oh, wait a minute now.
These are my training weights. You know how much weight and hair I've got? I cut all this off. I'm unstoppable.
It's like Goku taking off his weighted clothes. Okay. All right, buddy.
Hey, Baptized.
Welcome in, taking off the weights.
Yeah, welcome in, Baptized.
So should we do this maintenance stuff?
Coleslaw wrestling, Jesus Christ. Let's not encourage them, okay? But yeah, so we've got a bit of housekeeping before we close out.
I don't know. I could do a little whipped cream mud wrestling maybe.
No, I don't need that.
That's a horrible sight.
So yeah, last stream of 2023 coming into 2024, we will be having our first update log, fresh of the year, episode 30. I don't know. Should we start back at 1?
Nah.
Or should we just keep going?
We'll just keep going. Because it doesn't make any sense to have another episode 1 or episode 2.
That is true.
Well, but we could. I mean, you know, here's we could do season 2. I mean, you know,
that's a good point.
Season 2, episode 1.
That's a good point. But I don't know. What
do you
guys
can discuss that later. That's
riddle box. Now you're confusing me, Riddlebox. I'm easily confused. So you got to be. Now we'll figure that out.
Yeah, we'll figure it out. But if you
guys have a preference,
yeah, exactly. If you guys
jump in the Discord and tell us you have to do it this way. Damn it. Period. Okay. Make sure you type it out just that way too.
Yep. But yeah, so we will be meeting again for episode
24
whatever of the update log for the 3rd of January 2024. With regards to our RPG stream, I'm turning that over to Greg.
Well, and you know, a little bit more on that for the update log. I mean, we do.
Oh yeah, that's right. We did talk about a couple things. So we're going to be doing a bit of a change. Things might look a little different when we come back for the new year. We've been kind of tossing around the idea of doing a bit of redecorating, so to speak. But again, the coming year, we're going to be doing more of the same and some new stuff. Our goal for this coming year is to get some more industry professionals on for you guys to pick their brains, kind of have some discourse there. We might also be having some familiar faces back on, as some new stuff has been released. For those of you who know, Luke Stratton, the creator of Pyroborg, has put out a couple new things for his game. There's been some recent releases from folk from Artel Saurian. Obviously Project Blue Moon has now been officially announced as Shadow Scar. What else? Free League has put out a couple things, and they got some stuff on the horizon as well. So again, got some familiar faces who maybe and more than likely be returning in the new year. Did I cover everything, Greg? I can't remember.
I was just gonna keep letting you go, but
You don't do that because I'll just start fucking pulling shit out of my ass.
bumbling along. We're all
Yeah.
good.
Isn't that what we've done this entire stream?
What's
I
that?
mean, yeah, you're not wrong.
We were streaming. What? Yeah. So we do have some exciting plans for the update log, and there'll be some coupling that goes on with some of the game streams that we have over the next few weeks here. I think next week, not this week. This week, Sunday, we're probably going to do an impromptu stream. We're just testing out our capability to do dual streaming on 2 platforms. So it's going to be more or less a set and bullshit with us. We're not really going to have any real content. We're just going to be showing you just exactly how much we really don't know about all this media content stuff.
Pretty much.
So if you want to join us and heckle us, hey, more power to you. We might heckle back though.
Links to our YouTube channel is in somewhere.
It's posted in the chat.
There we go.
You don't even have to scroll up to see it right now.
Yeah, it's posted in the chat. All of our links to all of our things are in the chat. Again, feel free to, and if you haven't, join the Discord. That's where, you'll get to sit with us directly and with everybody else and shoot the shit and kind of act the fool.
After that,
not too much though.
Next Thursday, we are going to start we're going to do 2 existing R. Talsorian content run-throughs. So coming out of Tales from the Red. So we are going to run some currently existing adventure content from R. Talsorian for a couple of weeks. So we're going to have some new characters for Cyberpunk. We're going to run through, see what kind of trouble we can get into, and we're going to play out a couple of those adventure modules. And then that is to support the work that we as a group are doing going into GaryCon this year, which will be representing R. Talsorian at GaryCon, and it's going to be really exciting. And we have at least one full 4-part module, full adventure module that is our own creation in the Cyberpunk world.
And we're planning on 2, one in the Cyberpunk and one in the Witcher universe. That's the plan as of right now, subject to change.
Yep. So that'll probably be the Cyberpunk game will probably be the next couple of Thursdays after tomorrow. And then we are going to roll into knocking out some of these one-shots that we have going on. I believe
next one is Mutant Year Zero, I believe. After we're done with the Cyberpunk stuff.
You'll be ready in a couple weeks, right, Matt?
Yeah, that's right. Matt's taking the reins on that one.
Matt's ready now, man. He can do it right now.
No, I am not.
Yep, he is ready. He got his hair into the ready position.
I believe in you. I believe in you. You can do it.
Are there taco trucks in the Cyberpunk world? I'm pretty sure there are taco trucks.
There can be.
They would definitely have taco trucks.
There can be.
I mean, I'd be surprised if like tacos didn't survive in 2077. They're so good.
There's no way tacos didn't survive.
No joke.
I'll be running these games, so I mean, we could have Waffle Houses if you want. I don't care.
Ooh,
Waffle House definitely survived.
IHOP with the one-legged waitresses working there. I mean,
Waffle House for sure survived. As a matter of fact, I'd be willing to bet Waffle House is a fucking security force all on their own. Have you seen the Waffle House cooks?
Oh yeah, no. Yeah, no, you don't mess with those people.
No, you need to come in with MaxSack for that shit.
steak and shake, Denny's. Yep. I mean, they're all here. They're all there.
Adam Smasher steers clear of
Waffle House. Yo, I'm pretty sure MaxSack recruits for Waffle House cooks.
So we got that. We're going to run 2 of those, which will potentially take up January. It just depends on how quickly these guys actually get through the campaigns. So if it takes a long time, it's their fault, not mine.
Wow.
I just threw you under the bus.
Wow.
It's okay.
Disrespect.
Then we'll be running. Matt will be running the Mutant Year Zero campaign, and after that we have a few more. We have some more one shots we're going to do, but we are going to kick back into season 2 with the BOR, which is our main cyberpunk campaign that we run through. So
Another system we have to run through, Blade Runner. Gotta do a Blade Runner one.
Add it to the list.
Yeah,
we might have to thumb wrestle over who runs that one. Maybe, I don't know.
Okay. I think as Greg said, he wants to do it.
Yeah, you guys have first dibs on all the one shots. So if you want to do it, that's no matter how badly I want to choke you out because you want to do it, I will back off.
Okay.
All right.
But yeah, guys, thank you for joining us for episode 33 of the update log. Thank you for joining us for the entire journey so far since May up till now. It's been a blast. It's been a learning experience, and honestly one that I would do again. So here's to another full year of content for you guys, value-filled content, and laughs and fun. Excited to see what 2024 brings.
Yep.
Absolutely.
And I got a little announcement of my own to make. So
that's right.
We won't be doing a game stream tomorrow, but I will be doing something myself. Just last week, I started up my own Twitch channel, and tomorrow, at the same time, 8:00 EST, I'll be having my own stream going on twitch.tv/the Primordial Bean. I'll put the link in the chat. Where right now I'm playing Undertale Yellow, a fan-made game of Undertale that got the green light from big man Toby Fox himself. And so,
definitely a wacky game.
Definitely a wacky game, but so far, honestly, it's great. They really nailed the Undertale vibes. Yeah. So if you want to come and hang out tomorrow, I'll be streaming there, and I'm still trying to work out the schedule of when I will be doing it. I'm thinking my common days are going to be like Monday and Sunday, but since we don't have anything planned on this channel for tomorrow, I figured I'll just do my own thing tomorrow.
Down over there. So yeah, if we're not going to be streaming tomorrow. If you are able, please do jump on and show Matt some love tomorrow.
Yeah, check out his
stream. Heckle the fuck out of him for me, please.
we did. His brother and I did for his first stream.
Awesome.
As he was having some technical difficulties. But
so it's the first stream. What do you expect? Hopefully tomorrow we'll have to deal with any of that stuff. Yeah, that's the goal.
You guys have a good night. Looks like we're raiding.
We are. We're going to raid into the Legends of Aventris. Yeah. So go show them some love. Thank you very much for being here tonight, everybody. It has been a pleasure, and we absolutely love your company. So we'll see you hopefully Sunday.
The new year.
And we'll see you next year.
Yeah. Well, we'll see you before the end of next year. But
it'll be the very end of this year. But
yeah.
All right. Yep. Have a good night.
All right, guys. You guys have a good one.
See you guys next time.